Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into the sources you shared on a topic that's just so fundamental, emotional resilience.
It really is.
It's not just, getting through stuff, but actually finding ways to thrive because of hardship, that ability to bounce back.
And maybe even stronger.
Exactly.
So our mission here is to unpack what that really looks like. Drawing on all the insights and research you've brought together, we looked at everything.
Psychological studies, stuff from Special Forces training.
Right, and some really powerful personal stories, too. We're trying to understand what makes the difference, between just surviving and really mastering adversity.
And right away, something that jumped out is that resilience isn't about dodging problems. That seems key.
Absolutely. Your sources are crystal clear on this. It's not about avoiding difficulty. Life throws curveballs.
Always when you least expect it, usually.
Yeah. Seems that way. Resilience, as defined in your material, it's the ability to take those hits, maybe get knocked down. But having the inner strength, the tools to get back up and move forward, often, like you said, with something new learned or gained.
So the goal isn't just preventing bad things.
No, it's learning to thrive because they happen. Using them somehow.
That's a powerful reframe. Okay, so foundationally, your material points to optimism, but a specific kind. Clear-eyed optimism.
Yes, and that distinction is so important. It comes up again and again. It's definitely not blind positivity. It's not ignoring the bad stuff.
Right, not head in the sand thinking.
Exactly. True, resilient optimism means you face the challenge. You see the reality, warts and all. You acknowledge the storm.
Okay, grounded. Realistic.
Precisely. But, and here's the optimism part, it includes a fundamental belief in your ability to handle it, to navigate it.
So you see the storm, you know it's real, but you trust yourself to cope.
Yes. You trust yourself to find a way through or to endure it. That self-belief, even when things look objectively tough, that's the core of it.
And I can immediately see that's not just for soldiers or heroes. That's for you, listening right now, dealing with whatever life's throwing at you.
Absolutely. A tough project, a health scare, relationship issues.
Just everyday setbacks.
Right. It's seeing the difficulty, but holding on to that core belief. I can figure this out. I have what it takes.
And your sources suggest this is something you can cultivate, not just born with it.
Definitely. It's framed as an active mindset, something you build.
Which kind of leads into the next surprising bit from your material. Fear. Our instinct is fight or flight, right? Protect ourselves.
Makes perfect sense. Evolutionarily speaking, we're wired for survival.
But the research you included, the neuroscience, it shows avoiding fear actually makes it stronger.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? When you consistently avoid what scares you, you actually reinforce those fear pathways in the brain. You make the fear bigger, easier to trigger next time.
So trying to feel safe by avoiding makes you more afraid long term. Wow.
It does. So the resilient approach, seen in therapy and in that high-stakes training you mentioned.
Like the Special Forces stuff.
Exactly. It involves confronting fears. Doing it safely, in a controlled way, maybe, helps rewire the brain. It learns the threat isn't as big as it felt.
And those training examples, they don't eliminate fear. They teach people to function with it.
And, crucially, to reframe it, that's the powerful part.
How so?
Fear becomes a signal. Not just danger, but maybe a challenge, an alert, an opportunity to learn something.
They actually teach specific phrases for that.
Yes, ways to talk to yourself. Like you highlighted, I feel scared, but I'm going to learn from this.
Or, this is a test, I'll use it to get stronger.
Exactly. That shift from, this is overwhelming, to, this is hard, but I can handle it and grow, it changes everything physiologically and mentally.
And again, that's not just for elite training. That's for you facing a presentation or a difficult conversation.
Or trying anything new where you might fail. Acknowledge the fear, then choose that resilient response.
Okay, so internal mindset is huge. What about other anchors? Your sources mention an inner compass.
Yeah, this came up a lot. It's about having a strong sense of your values, right and wrong, what you truly stand for.
Like your personal true north.
Exactly. Having that clear, unwavering commitment acts as an incredibly powerful anchor when things get chaotic or you face tough choices.
And the material shows resilient people really stick to their values under pressure.
Consistently. There's an integrity there, a congruence between belief and action, even when it's hard.
And this seems linked to spirituality, which also appears frequently. Not necessarily religion, though.
Right. That's a key distinction in your sources. Spirituality is used more broadly. It's that feeling of connection to something bigger than just yourself.
Like what?
Could be many things. A community sharing your values,
Right.
a deep bond with nature, maybe a higher power, or even just dedication to a cause beyond your own self-interest.
Ah, so it's about purpose and belonging, feeling less alone in it all.
Yes, exactly. It provides meaning, a sense that you're part of something lasting, that feeling of, I'm not alone in this, that others share my core beliefs. That's incredibly strengthening.
Speaking of not being alone,
Mhm.
social connection. Your sources hammer this home. It's critical.
Absolutely critical. And there's biology behind it, connection. Even small acts triggers oxytocin.
The bonding hormone.
Right. And it literally calms your nervous system, reduces stress hormones, makes you feel safer, more capable of coping. We are wired for connection.
The POW tap code example you found. Just devastating, but so powerful.
Isn't it? That tiny signal, just knowing someone else was there, provided immense hope and resilience in total isolation. A simple tap.
Shows how vital even the smallest connection can be.
It really does. And importantly, your material also points out it's not just about getting support. Giving it is just as crucial for your own resilience.
Helping others, acts of kindness, they bounce back to you.
They absolutely do. Contributing outwards, being genuinely interested in others, it boosts your own sense of capability and connection.
It's not just feel good, it actually strengthens you.
Yeah, the psychological benefits are well documented in your sources. When you focus on contributing, your own sense of agency and purpose often grows, builds your resilience. It's a positive loop.
So investing in others really is investing in yourself.
A key takeaway for sure. Another thing your material highlights is learning from role models.
People who inspire you, show you what's possible.
Yes, seeing resilience in action is powerful, but your sources add a nuance here. Learn from both positive and negative examples.
Ah, so learn who to be like, but also who not to be like.
Exactly. Both kinds of examples help clarify your own values, show you potential pitfalls, and help define your unique path to resilience. It's like a map showing scenic routes and danger zones.
Okay, that makes sense. Provides practical guide. Now, resilience isn't just mental, right? The physical side is big in your sources.
Oh, huge. Prioritizing physical and mental fitness is presented as non-negotiable. It's not just about brute strength, though being healthy helps.
It's about handling stress better.
Yes,
Yeah.
equipping your whole system, your body, to manage stress, physical and emotional.
I like that stress vaccine analogy from the material.
It's very apt. Regular exercise teaches your body how to ramp up stress systems and then return to baseline efficiently.
Like practice runs.
Exactly. So when emotional or psychological stress hits, your body is better trained to handle the biochemical flood and recover faster.
So getting active, walking, dancing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's literally training your body for life's stresses.
Don't underestimate it. And tied to that, sleep. Absolutely vital. Your sources consistently point to 7-8 hours as foundational.
Lack of sleep just tanks everything.
It depletes your emotional reserves immediately, impairs thinking. You just can't be resilient when you're exhausted.
Makes sense. And mental fitness.
That's about keeping your mind sharp, flexible, adaptable. Cultivating that growth mindset, believing you can develop your abilities. Embracing learning.
Like mental cross training.
Yeah, good way to put it. Learning new things, engaging in deep conversations, hobbies that challenge you. It keeps your mind agile, ready to adapt.
Cognitive flexibility.
Which is a hallmark of resilient folks. And it connects to another idea, the resilience toolbox.
Meaning they have multiple ways to cope, not just one strategy.
Right. Your sources show resilient people have a range of tools, and crucially, they know how to assess a situation and pick the right tool for that challenge.
Like knowing when you need a hammer versus a screwdriver.
Perfect analogy. Knowing when to use humor, when to seek support, when to buckle down and problem solve, when to just accept difficult emotions.
And humor comes up specifically as a tool.
Yes, surprisingly often. Not about ignoring seriousness, but finding levity. Shifting perspective, releasing tension, finding moments of joy even when things are dark.
A little mental breathing room. Maybe not taking yourself quite so seriously all the time.
That's part of it. Finding the absurdity can be incredibly disarming when you feel overwhelmed. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Your material also emphasizes meaning in work.
As a driver of resilience, not just the paycheck.
Definitely not just the paycheck. It's feeling a sense of purpose. Feeling like your work contributes to something bigger than just you.
That provides motivation.
Deep motivation. It helps you push through obstacles, burnout. It
Yep.
gives you a why.
And that applies no matter the job.
Right.
CEO or janitor.
Absolutely. It's about finding that connection between what you do day to day and the larger good it serves. Viewing it as a calling, maybe, or a mission.
Taking pride in doing it well.
Yes. Even simple pride in a job well done, knowing it matters to someone, somewhere, that reframes work entirely.
It stops being just a task list and becomes a source of strength.
Exactly. Which brings us to the practical stuff. Your sources offer concrete strategies you can use, putting ideas into action.
The how-to.
Right. First, what we've touched on, prioritize self-care. It's preventative maintenance.
Sleep, food, exercise, the basics.
The non-negotiable basics, according to your research, they build your reserves. You need that foundation.
Makes sense. What's next?
Setting boundaries, learning to say no.
Ooh, that's hard for a lot of people.
It is. But saying no to things that drain you, or don't align with your values, or just stretch you too thin, it's essential. Overcommitment kills resilience.
Saying no protects your energy for what matters.
Precisely. Third, mindfulness.
Paying attention.
Paying attention to right now, without judgment. Noticing your thoughts, feelings, sensations, but not getting carried away by them. Just being present.
Sounds simple, but maybe isn't easy.
Takes practice. Meditation helps, but it can also be just focusing on your breath for a minute, or really savoring your food, or mindfully walking.
What does that do for resilience?
It builds calm, clarity, better emotional regulation. You learn to observe your reactions instead of being hijacked by them. It's like a mental workout for managing stress.
Okay, and last one.
Cultivating gratitude. A really powerful one.
Focusing on the good stuff.
Actively shifting your focus from what's wrong or missing to what's abundant, what you appreciate. Even small things.
How do you practice that?
Keep a gratitude journal, maybe. Or just take a moment each day to think of 3 things you're thankful for. Or tell someone you appreciate them.
And that helps resilience how?
It literally rewires your brain to notice the positive more easily. It's a direct antidote to negativity and pessimism, boosts your whole perspective.
So self-care, boundaries, mindfulness, gratitude. These aren't just nice ideas, they're active practices.
They're the training, they build the foundation, and resilience, as all your sources emphasize, it's not a destination you just arrive at.
It's a journey, ongoing.
Absolutely, it's a process.
Right.
Learning, adapting, facing stuff, integrating lessons. You'll have setbacks, you'll feel knocked off course sometimes.
So be patient with yourself.
Yes, and celebrate the progress you do make, even small steps. And please, remember to reach out. Ask for help when you need it. You don't do this alone.
Your material is really encouraging here. It suggests everyone has this capacity.
It really does. Like any skill or muscle, the more you practice these things, the stronger, the more adaptable you become.
The potential is there.
Within your reach.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, based on everything you shared, resilience is about thriving through hardship, built on that clear-eyed optimism, facing fears.
Anchored by that inner compass, strong connections. Fueled by physical and mental fitness.
Having that diverse coping toolbox, finding meaning in work.
And actively practicing those strategies. Self-care, boundaries, mindfulness, gratitude.
It's a journey, needs patience, needs practice, but the payoff seems huge.
Immense. It's about building that capacity to create a life with strength, joy, purpose, not just despite challenges, but really truly shaped by how you navigate them.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, listening.
Yeah, consider the ripple effect. If you cultivate your own resilience, if your way of handling difficulty inspires even one other person.
How might that change things for your family, your community?
How might your resilience ripple outwards? Something to think about.
Definitely something to ponder. Thank you for sharing these sources and joining this deep dive.
Thank you.
We really encourage you to maybe revisit some of these ideas or pick just one strategy, gratitude, mindfulness, setting one boundary, and try focusing on it this week.
Start small, be kind to yourself, keep practicing. Using rest strategically, leveraging visualization, tracking progress, and knowing when it's okay to pivot.
Yeah, and the core message running through all the material is that motivation isn't some fixed trait you either have or don't. It's really a set of skills you can learn and apply.
And you don't need to try and use all of them at once, right?
Not at all. Pick one that resonates when you feel that motivation dip. Often, the simple act of taking just a single step forward can be enough to reignite the spark. Motivation often follows action, not the other way around.
You don't wait to feel motivated to start. You start, and then you begin to feel motivated.
Exactly. And think about the benefits of pushing through those tough moments. You build resilience. You cultivate grit. You develop real confidence in your own capability.
The difference between you and someone you admire who's achieved great things might just be time and persistence.
Keep going. Keep fanning those flames. You absolutely have this.
Thinking about capability, let's turn to another aspect of our inner world, memory. You know that feeling, right? When a name is just right there on the tip of your tongue, or you walk into a room and completely forget why you went in there.
Oh, definitely. Happens to everyone. Your sources have some really interesting things to say about why our memories sometimes feel like they, well, fail us.
They did. And today's deep dive question is forgetting just a glitch in the system? Or, and this sounds kind of counterintuitive, is it actually a feature?
The material you provided makes a pretty compelling case that forgetting might actually be a good thing sometimes. Strange as that sounds.
It's such a universal experience. Understanding it is incredibly insightful. We're taking a deep dive into how your brain handles information, drawing directly from the studies and articles you shared.
So, based on your sources, here's our plan. We'll cover the basics of how we even make memories in the first place, the nuts and bolts. Then we'll dig into the main theories on why we forget, from everyday slips to some deeper issues highlighted in one of the studies.
Okay, got it.
Then we'll explore that surprising idea, how forgetting might actually be beneficial, as hinted at in the articles.
That's the part I'm really curious about. That seems wild.
And of course, we'll finish with practical tips from your sources on how you might actually improve your memory. Maybe remember where you put those keys more often.
Always helpful. So how do our brains even form memories? What's step one?
It starts with encoding. Your brain takes in sensory information, sights, sounds, smells, and converts it into a format it can store. Think of it like typing information into a computer in a language the computer understands.
Okay, and one article you shared specifically highlighted that attention plays a massive role in this stage.
Absolutely. Encoding isn't passive. The more focus and effort you put into paying attention in the moment, the stronger that memory trace will be right from the start.
It's like the difference between having two conversations at once, barely listening to one, versus really hanging on every word of the other. You'll remember the second one way better because you were truly present.
Precisely. You have to capture the information effectively in the first place. Okay, so once it's encoded, where does it go?
Storage. That's where the encoded information is held. And there's short-term or working memory, which is like a temporary mental scratch pad, easily erased.
Like remembering a phone number just long enough to dial it, then poof, it's gone.
Exactly. And then there's long-term memory, where information can potentially be stored for your entire life.
And your sources mentioned some key brain areas involved here. The hippocampus, often called the memory maker, which is crucial for forming new long-term memories.
Yes, that was emphasized in the material. And the amygdala, which handles emotions, which helps explain why emotional memories can be so vivid and easy to recall, right?
Yeah, the amygdala helps tag those memories with emotional significance, essentially making them stickier.
And the cerebral cortex is kind of like the vast filing cabinet for all that long-term storage.
So information is encoded, hopefully stored well, and then what?
Retrieval. Going back into those mental files to find the information you need, but as we know, it isn't always easy.
No. How easily you can retrieve a memory depends heavily on how well it was encoded and stored initially. You need the right cues, kind of like the right search terms for your mental filing cabinet. Sometimes the memory is definitely there, but you just can't seem to access it at that moment.
Which brings us right back to the main question. Why do we forget? Let's look at the theories your sources covered. First up, decay theory.
A fairly simple idea. Memories, particularly in short-term memory, just sort of fade over time if they aren't used or revisited. It's the classic use it or lose it concept.
Like a path through the woods getting overgrown if nobody walks on it. The neural pathways just weaken.
Makes sense for temporary information. But what about things we feel like we know, but we just get them mixed up?
Ah, that's where interference comes in. Your research paper went pretty deep into this. It's essentially when memories get jumbled up and compete with each other.
And there are two main types, right? Proactive interference, where older memories make it hard to learn or remember new ones.
Like your old phone number making it difficult to remember your new one, the old one keeps popping up and interfering.
Exactly. And the flip side is retroactive interference, where learning new information makes it harder to recall older memories.
So if I learn a brand new software program, I might suddenly struggle to remember the details of an older one I used to know inside and out.
Precisely. The new information can sort of overwrite or interfere with the retrieval of the old. The more you learn, the more potential there is for this kind of jumbling. It's like the brain has limited mental slots for active recall at any one time.
Interesting way to think about it. Okay, what's another reason for forgetting?
Retrieval failure. This is when the memory exists, it's stored, but you just can't access it. That classic tip-of-the-tongue feeling.
Oh, that frustration. You know it, but you just can't pull it out.
And often, a small hint, the first letter of a word, a related detail can provide the missing cue and suddenly bring the memory flooding back, which proves it was there all along, you just needed the right trigger.
Huh. So the problem was finding the key, not that the file was completely gone. What about motivated forgetting? That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, this idea, which was discussed in some of the psychology texts you sent over, suggests we might consciously or sometimes subconsciously bury unpleasant memories. Emotions can play a significant role in what we choose to remember and what we push away.
So sometimes you forget because, well, part of you doesn't really want to remember. And then there's memory distortion.
Okay, this is the really freaky one. Memories aren't perfect, static recordings. They can actually change over time. You can even come to remember things that didn't actually happen.
Wow. That feels fundamentally unsettling. How reliable is anything then?
It definitely highlights that memory isn't always reliable. Your brain is actively rebuilding memories every time you recall them. And this rebuilding process can be influenced by your current beliefs, your feelings, even input from other people.
Like eyewitness testimony, which we used to think was the gold standard, but now we know it can be surprisingly fallible due to things like leading questions or simply talking to other witnesses after the event.
Precisely. Memories are almost like stories you retell. Each telling can subtly alter the details.
So my own life story, as I remember it, might not be perfectly accurate. That's a lot to take in.
It's possible, according to your sources. And finally, there's the more straightforward cause: brain damage and neurological conditions.
Right. Forgetting due to actual physical injury, disease, or disorders that directly impact the brain's ability to form, store, or retrieve memories.
Conditions like Alzheimer's, dementia, stroke, or significant head injuries can severely impair memory function. And of course, normal aging can also bring some decline in certain memory processes.
Okay, so we've covered the main reasons for forgetting: decay, interference, retrieval failure, motivated forgetting, distortion, and physical damage. Forgetting is clearly a complex, inherent part of how our brains work, but you mentioned earlier it might actually be good. How?
Well, think about the sheer volume of information constantly bombarding your brain. Every sight, sound, thought, interaction. If you remembered every single bit of it.
I'd be completely overwhelmed, utterly paralyzed.
Exactly. Forgetting acts like a vital filter. It helps your brain clear out the clutter, discard unnecessary or irrelevant information, and prioritize what's important right now.
So my brain is kind of decluttering for me, like automatically sorting the junk mail so I can find the important letters.
That's a great way to put it. It frees up cognitive resources, making your brain more efficient, and potentially aiding better decision-making by reducing all that irrelevant noise. Remembering every single mundane conversation you ever had wouldn't actually be helpful.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And forgetting can also be really beneficial for emotional well-being. While it's not always easy, forgetting painful or traumatic experiences helps you move forward and builds resilience.
So it's not just about thinking, it's about emotional processing and, frankly, survival. Letting go of the past to live more fully in the present. That's a really interesting perspective from your sources.
It is. Okay, so forgetting is normal, maybe even helpful sometimes, but we still want to remember the important stuff. Are there practical tips to improve memory that came out of your sources?
Absolutely. And a lot of them go right back to the basics of how memories are formed in the first place. Repetition, for instance. Simply recalling a memory strengthens it. Your sources highlighted spaced repetition specifically.
Ah, yes. Reviewing information at increasing intervals over time. Studies consistently back this up as highly effective for solidifying things in long-term memory.
Makes total sense. And then mnemonics and memory aids.
These can feel a bit gimmicky sometimes, but they really work by creating stronger cues for retrieval. Things like acronyms, rhymes, visualizations, linking new info to stuff you already know. They just make information easier to grab onto later.
Like using ROYGBIV for the colors of the rainbow, or that old musical phrase, every good boy does fine, for the notes on the staff lines.
Simple tools, but they provide effective mental shortcuts. Your sources also really stress the importance of overall health for memory.
Taking care of your body directly benefits your brain. Exercise increases blood flow. A healthy diet provides essential nutrients. And sleep. Sleep is absolutely crucial for memory consolidation.
Yeah, your brain is actively working while you sleep to sort and file away new memories, making them stick. It's like essential overnight processing.
And mental exercise, things like puzzles, reading, learning new skills, keeps the brain active and helps maintain cognitive function across the board.
Physical health and mental engagement are both key. Okay, how about improving that initial encoding step we talked about?
Mindful encoding, basically being fully present and focused when you're trying to learn something new. Eliminating distractions helps the information get processed more deeply, giving it a much better chance of sticking around.
Focus really is like a superpower for memory.
And emotional connection. We tend to remember things much better if they have some emotional weight or personal relevance to us. So try connecting new information to your own life, your interests, or your goals. Make it meaningful.
That definitely rings true. It's always easier to remember things you genuinely care about or can relate to your own experience.
And finally, retrieval practice. This is similar to repetition, but it's active.